Hey, yo! Compressing my voice for talking video. Yo, what's up? Sorry I haven't made a video in a little bit. I've been producing 3 full lengths, one for this band Spinning, that's local to LA, another band from back home named Cheer Up Dusty. I actually met my girlfriend through them, as well as working on my buddy Angelo from Canada's record. He's in a project called Neon Riot. We're doing it fully remote, which is really cool. It's just a little bit slow going. Same thing with the Cheer Up Dusty project. It's a lot of just like homework and whenever the band has time to do their layers that I'm asking for. But anyway, again, sorry I'm busy. I made sick hats. It says bring back sick riffs. So if you want to bring back sick riffs like me, link in the description. But yeah, it's been good that I'm busy. Obviously, LA has been treating me well, but I just haven't had a ton of time to dive back into the YouTube thing. And actually, I'm moving studios again to a bigger, more reputable studio in the area. It is more reputable. I can't say that word. It is more well-known than my apartment living room in the Valley, which I'll get into later. But yeah, I've lived here for 6 months now, and I kind of just wanted to go over how it's been going and give you my experience of my life here and my producer life here. And I also think this will be a cool time capsule for me to look back on in 2 years if I'm still here, or if I live in Canada with Angelo and we eat waffles with maple syrup every day and ride mooses to work. You know, I mean, shout out to Angelo and Sum 41 and Avril Lavigne and a bunch of other great Canadians. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing that I noticed when I moved to LA was the perspective here is just totally different, at least in the circle that I ran in New Jersey. I noticed that artists as a whole always feel like there's so much more that they can do and that there's bigger numbers they could be hitting. But I did see that in New Jersey and Philly, that the numbers were, hey, we need to get to 1,000 monthly listeners. Otherwise, we don't feel like people are taking our music seriously and nobody cares about us and we're failing as musicians, which I don't think numbers should reflect that sort of thing. But you're putting in a lot of time and you want to see people check it out and love it. I get it, you know? But people in LA will be sitting with like 40, 50, 60, 100,000 monthly listeners and be like, Bubble Tea McGee over there has 2 million. Why am I not pumping like that? Why don't I have those numbers? So people are already coming into the studio with the perspective of trying to write the greatest song in the entire world or just trying to be unique or always putting pressure on themselves to really level up. But the difference is it's the same sort of feeling that I get from the bands in the Northeast, but the numbers are just different. And I don't know if that's because these artists that are located in this area have more connections and more pull or are just more accepted in like the TikTok and social media culture that their projects are doing better than the bands in New Jersey, which I think is another thing that's good and bad about this area. But yeah, it seems like bands around here just aim a little bit higher. So one really big difference that I noticed when I moved to LA is all the bands here are super welcoming to anybody's idea. If you have another writer in the room or an assistant or whatever, and they come up with a sick riff and the band hears it and they like it, they're gonna use it. Versus a band in the Northeast, a lot of them are super easygoing and will take ideas, but for the most part in the Northeast, it's almost like it's like a rite of passage that nobody touches your song or you're quiet about it. And you're very careful about how you present yourself because the circles in the Northeast just run so much tighter than they do in LA. It feels like in LA, it feels like anybody can come into the room, bands can play shows with each other, and it won't be this weird cliquey thing. I do think that in the Northeast, there is more of like a tighter circle, so there's more of a community when you're in the circle. But in LA, everybody is welcoming, but everybody is running in their own lane towards the finish line, if that makes sense. And the hustle culture over here is definitely really, really strong. And I mean, being in the Northeast, New York obviously has that too, but it's just a little bit different. It's more like the hustle to be cool in the Northeast versus the hustle to just survive off of your music in LA, because also it is very expensive here, which brings me to my next point. It's freaking expensive. So luckily, I was softballed into this price range because New Jersey is also really expensive, New York City. So I will say the Northeast is more bang for your buck. You're gonna find commercial spots in little areas where you can build a studio. You can rent out a whole house for $2,000, $3,000, whatever. Around here, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. It's 600 square feet. It's built out of somebody's garage and we pay $1,900 a month here. So that being said, obviously it's way more expensive out here. But Vintage King Audio is 10 minutes away. There's 10 producers that I know that work on the same genre as me within 10 minutes of me. In New Jersey, I would have to drive like an hour to go see my one homie that also does pop punk in New Jersey. And not only are there a ton of producers in the area, obviously there's a ton of artists in the area. So there's plenty around for everybody to get food on their plate and continue to work in music full time. Now, that doesn't mean it's not competitive. If you're just doing straight up rock stuff and you don't have a couple credits, artists, you're going to have to be reaching out to a lot of people. But if you have your own lane, which I feel like I'm pretty lucky with that, I do like futuristic punk stuff most of the time, and sometimes octane rock and sometimes metal, and I can play every instrument. So I feel like a lot of the solo artists around here and a lot of the bands around here can find a lot of use out of working with me. But if I was just a producer or a mixer that couldn't really play guitar, couldn't really play drums, I would find it hard to bring a band in for a writing session with the hopes of it turning into a full song and a full production. But it is crazy to think about how in New Jersey, I knew maybe 2 other producers in all of New Jersey that are working full time off of music. In LA, I know 20, 30, endless amounts of producers that are working full time here. And even though it's more expensive here, my rates have gone up. Now, I don't know if that's because, oh, Pete moved to LA, he's worth more money now, which I hate the thought of, but it does feel like that a little bit. It feels like people are more willing to fly out because it's a destination location where there's other writers and other producers around. So it makes more sense for people to be hungry to want to work with me in this area versus a small town in New Jersey. So I would hope to say that I've gotten better and my credibility has gotten better since moving here, but I feel the same. I feel like I'm doing the same level of work. There's a couple things that I've leveled up. I've gotten some new gear. I have worked with a couple other bigger artists. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, there's more bigger artists around here. I'm going to work with them, and it's going to make other people want to work with me and hear the work, and it's going to get spread more widely. So maybe it's a little bit of both location and whatever. But I will say that if I move to Nashville, what am I going to do? There's not a lot of punk shit over there. There's not a lot of pop punk stuff over there. I would imagine that it would still have the same effect, like, oh, he's living in a music city, so a lot of people would want to work remotely and do that whole thing. But the day to day, I'm not really working in folk and like singer-songwriter rock, so I feel like it might be harder for me personally to like find clients and really sort of level up, I guess, in that area versus LA, which feels like progressive rock music and progressive music in general. I don't know any other place where I could be driving to go get a donut and see some dude with pink hair skateboarding, holding a guitar, holding a Warlock guitar, riding down the street. That's LA. That could have been a homeless person. That could have been an artist. Could have been both. I don't know. Either way, I want to record a sick EP because I know that dude has sick stuff. But yeah, overall, I feel like moving here, my rates did triple, if not quadruple, once I moved here, and I got super, super busy, which is great. I'm exhausted, but I love it. This is what I always want to do, so I appreciate every second of it. In New Jersey, it's like build your client base. Hopefully none of the bands break up and they keep playing shows and they have other bands hit you up, and it's always just kind of a wild card. I feel like also just in LA, everybody shreds. Everybody can play guitar really well because the perspective around here is like, it's a given that you need to be able to track your instrument. Not a ton of bands that I would record in New Jersey were like this, but a lot of the times it's like giving a guitar lesson and engineering rather than getting in the thick of, hey, let's just change the part. You know, it shouldn't be this whole thing, but it could be coincidental too. It's not like I was lined up for 2 months in New Jersey. It really was project to project, where over here I've been able to stack things out a little bit more. So that brings me to my next point over here. Once you're here and you're making like a full-time living, it feels like you're thrown into the next level of what LA is, which is playing the game, which I don't really do too much. But basically what playing the game is a lot of producers around this area are super good. Everybody can do a really killer job on a mix or producing or songwriter, and everybody has their little skill set or whatever. If you want to start working with these bigger artists and sharing projects with bigger producers, you kind of have to play the game, which means you're playing a little bit of politics, showing up to writing sessions more often than actually recording bands, and going to get dinner with other producers and maybe going to shows and meeting bands and then sort of networking your way through, which is pretty on par to how many years I've seen my friends that have lived here. I have some friends that have lived here for 5-6 years that are consistently booked out with artists that have 100,000 monthly listeners, and they're doing the same level work that me and my other buddies are doing. And then I have a buddy who's lived here for about 2 years and is just now starting to feel like he's accepted in the circle of bigger producers and working with household name rock bands and stuff, which is great. And I'm not saying that either of these people were intentionally playing the game to try to do it. It's just, obviously I would love to record bigger bands. Of course, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to stop myself from putting my foot in the door and saying hello to anybody. My point is, it's around here and it's kind of just a part of the culture to make yourself known and be a part of the community. And I've been here for 6 months and my artists have gotten bigger, and I haven't been trying to play the game or anything. It's just I work with one guy, he tells his buddies, some of them tell their bigger buddies, and so on and so forth. But the network over here just seems to spread a little bit easier than anywhere else that I've been. So as far as my experience, I've been booked out, I've been working with bigger bands, I've been loving getting sunburned, going on hikes, because I barely get any sun. And I also love that there's so many producers here that I can hang out with and feel like this is a real frickin' job and we're all doing it together, because in New Jersey and Philly, it didn't feel like that. Just because I didn't know that many people who were doing it full time. I don't love the every once in a while you run into somebody who is super, in my opinion, LA, which means like they name drop a lot of people. They don't really care so much about the music anymore. They care about moving up, which is like, I will say I've done 100 writing sessions, let's say, and that's only happened 2 times. So that is real. The LA sort of stigma, movie star attitude is a thing around here, but it's super rare. And both those people that I'm thinking of in my head were transplants, not from LA anyway. But other than that, if you can find your clients and make it work around here, I think that the ceiling is a lot higher around here if you're in the same realm that I'm in, which is like rock. And I could even see pop or hip hop around here do really, really well. So since I've been in this studio for 6 months where my girlfriend is in the other room crocheting bags and I have somebody in this room screaming their lungs out, it is definitely time for me to find a bigger room, which I did find a bigger room and I'm stoked about. I've been looking for a little bit and kind of getting frustrated because everything around here, I didn't want to spend more than like $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 a month on a room that was the size of this room, just so that I can scream at 10 p.m. at night, which is crazy to think about because my old studio, I think they rented the room for $800 a month in a smaller town in New Jersey. And it was like a maybe 1,000, 2,000 square foot room. I'm looking at rooms that are like 150 square feet and it's like $1,000 no matter what. But I ended up finding a spot in Kyle Black's studio in West Alley recording 2 towns over. Recorded with him in the past and he has an incredible live room and I'm gonna just panel out the storage room. It's about the same size as this room, but I will have access to the live room and I'll be able to have bands come in and not feel like they're coming into my kitchen and where me and my girlfriend hang out and watch Deadliest Catch every night. You know what I mean? It's more of just like a business and more of let's attack this song rather than let's say hello to Meatball my cat and then write the best song in the world, which we'll still do anyway. But yeah, if I didn't find that room, then I probably would have considered moving to Austin or Nashville just for the sake that you can get a mansion in Austin for the prices that you're paying in LA. And I'm doing well with my projects that are coming in, but I don't want to live like scared that the projects will slow down and I won't be able to keep up with the rent. But now that opportunities have been presented to me, I need to take them and I need to stay and flesh out what is happening here in LA. I don't think I want to live here forever, to be honest. I think I want to live in a town called Sandwich, Massachusetts, which is in Cape Cod, and I only want to live there because the town is called Sandwich. But yeah, what I want to do is I just want to make sick music because there's so many artists here, and I want to work with everybody I can. And then when I feel like it's right, I will buy a little house in the shape of a crab and watch Deadliest Catch in Sandwich, Massachusetts. But until then, I'm going to keep grinding it out here and I guess keep playing the game. I hate that. But, keep working here because there's a ton of friends over here. There's a ton of producers, a ton of artists. Doesn't make sense to move a recording studio to Sandwich, Massachusetts before you're ready. I don't even think that area has like a genre of music that is like the thing. Let me look it up. Because if you search that about Nashville, you'd hear country. Let's see. Aerosmith, Godsmack, Dropkick Murphys. For sure, Dropkick Murphys. That's sick. To be honest, I only care about Godsmack. That's who I want to record over there. But yeah, I'm literally moving my studio tomorrow to the other room. So I just wanted to get on here and give a little update timeline. Sorry it was a bit scattered. I still get nervous talking to the camera. I don't know why. Once my room's set up, I'll be able to make videos every day because I won't be annoying my girlfriend at 10 p.m. when I'm screaming lyrics about booger walls in this room. If you don't follow my channel, that would make no sense to you. But if you want to know what that means, just watch the rest of my videos. But anyway, my email is always open to anybody who wants to work. I'll have a new studio come through. Let's write. I work mostly remotely, to be honest. So even if you're anywhere in the world, feel free to hit me up. But feel free to fly out if you want to work in person. We can eat some donuts, go on a hike to cancel it out, and then eat some burritos, and then write a song to feel better about ourselves. So, all right, I think that's it. Hopefully my next update will be robots took over the world and I'm producing punk robot music. Calling it. All right, I'll see you later. Peace.